Film Festival. We have the Austin Comedy Film Festival Fall 2022 event coming up in November at the Austin Film Society Cinema, where you're going to see all kinds of comedy films, everything from funny music videos to TV pilots to romantic comedy, horror comedy, you name it. And then we've got it there. And we have a series episode that has been nominated for the best dark comedy series episode. It's called Doom Chat, and we're joined by Tiberio Saraceno, the director. How are you, my man?
I'm good. Yeah, and don't be put off by doom. It's not doom and gloom. It's not a horror or anything like that. So I'm good.
No worries. Well, tell us a little bit about the film. Tell me the synopsis in your own words.
Doom Chat is taking place on the first day of quarantine, COVID quarantine. I should be specific. It's not a zombie apocalypse, although I think one character looks like he probably thinks there's a zombie apocalypse. Three best friends are getting together on a Zoom chat. We're calling it Doom Chat, jokingly. And he wants to confront a small business owner that screwed him right before the pandemic hit. Obviously, nobody can get into stores. Everybody is in their little cubicles at home, and they're going to get together and try and confront this business owner. At the same time, his friend has a mother who's dying of COVID. So there's kind of a serious situation and a bit of a funny situation. Also at the same time, his girlfriend thinks that she's pregnant. So he's got a few people that just keep pouring in on this Zoom chat and keep talking over each other. Eventually, we find out some things about what's happening with the mother and what the reality might be about the pregnant girlfriend. And then there's the guy who owns the small business who's trying to defend himself while also dealing with a very kind of germophobic, paranoid, living in a bubble type of situation at his home. So let's just say he wears a hazmat suit at home. So
creatively, why this story? Why did you spend your time, effort, and energy to create this?
I don't know. That's a fabulous question, and I really don't. It finally was something that drove me to make something. It had been a while since I made my own film. I've been working on other people's films. Obviously, the pandemic just was such, especially up here in New York where I live, such a heavy reaction to the pandemic and the quarantine. And people, if there were businesses opening, there weren't many, and it was a science experiment for how you would approach going to any particular store. But people were really serious about staying indoors, and it was really getting to me. It was really just I needed a community project. I needed to get community together, get friends together, to get artists together, and to do something communal that could kind of rise us out of this awful isolation that we were in. And this seemed like the right response to that. I'd never heard of Zoom before the pandemic. And so suffice to say, I had done like a dozen Zoom chats within a couple of months of the pandemic, because that's what people were doing. And my friend kind of just jokingly called it Doom Chat instead of Zoom Chat, and I thought that was really funny. So we just kind of went with that, and we wrote a script that was not going to be this particular story. The characters were going to be in a very Seinfeld kind of episode, and a few locations were going to be trouble. So we said, all right, let's respond to what we're actually living in then. Let's do like what we're living in, like a Zoom chat. And we had those characters, and we wrote this, and it became really a pilot episode for a series that we were going to call the Barking 20s. We just never got around to doing the other ones. I think I reached out to everyone to do a second one, and then kind of just fell apart. But we got this pilot in, and it's been more like a short film.
From a production perspective, what'd you learn on this one?
I learned that if you build it, they will come. I really didn't have any resources. I'd been out of making my own films for a while, and this was very much, I approached it like an art project, not a production. I kind of resent the word production, because sometimes, especially in New York, production feels like this whole mindset, and it creates kind of an apathy about creation. There's sort of a upper level of people who are the ones creating things, and everyone else is just kind of there to serve it. And I wanted something that that was more community based, and so it was a very small crew, and it was really all of us creating together. All the actors were helping build the sets, and so we were all doing it together. And so this was an art project. So I thought that that was a really good way to approach things. I think bad thing for me, nothing's bad, you know. Nothing was bad in this at all. I really enjoyed the whole thing. I think I definitely learned writing pure comedy is not totally satisfying to me. It's fast. I tend to take a year to write a screenplay. This I wrote in like a day. So, you know, very extremely different mindset. I didn't write a lot of drafts. I probably wrote maybe 4 whole drafts, maybe 5 whole drafts. But I'm not totally satisfied. At the end of the day, I'm sitting there editing it and I'm saying, oh man, I kind of wish I did something else. But and then that would be the last thing, the editing. I think I'm ready to, at this stage of my life, maybe look for help editing, because doing everything yourself can be very, very tedious. And I get into a mindset when I'm editing where I become very fixated on minutia. And it took me like 6 months to edit this. I thought it would take me about 3 weeks to edit, and it took me months to cut it. So
took a while.
I would get help next time.
For sure, for sure. Well, what do you got planned for the future?
I have too much planned for the future. I'm working on a comic book right now. Well, I'm doing several things at once right now. I started, my girlfriend, Valerie, suggested painting seashells at the beginning of the summer as just kind of an art, just to keep in the fluid of artistic creation.
Sure.
So we started doing that. And it's a tie-in to a comic book that I have, whose first issue is called Seashell.
Okay.
It's called Odie Smith and the Tower of Seven Treasures. It's a very Indiana Jones inspired adventure story. And I probably have a concept art right here. There's old Odie Smith right there. He I don't know if I can see it on screen, but that's he kind of looks a little bit like me. Here's him battling on top of a bank plaza in Pakistan.
Look at this.
Yeah, so I got that going on, and the seashell is a tie-in. It's one of the 7 treasures alluded to in the title. So we've been doing seashell art, and I also, this time of year, it's Halloween, so I'm carving jack-o'-lanterns. We have a jack-o'-lantern festival close to where I am. There's 7,000 jack-o'-lanterns. It's one of the biggest in the world, and it's the Great Jack-o'-lantern Blaze. So I carve jack-o'-lanterns several days a week. I carve a lot every day. You can see them on my Instagram at Tiberio Trip. I post a few of them on there, and there's also updates on the comic and the seashells. But on top of that, I would really love, I just submitted a screenplay. Now, this is one of those long-term screenplays that I put a lot of time into. It's called Egg and Cheese Reliquary. I kind of call it like a vegan fever dream. And I submitted it to the American Zoetrope Screenplay Festival. But you know, it's going to take a while to hear back from that, and you never know about these festivals. But I would love to just get hired to direct something. That would be a very high goal, because it's so hard to start projects, and I'm a terrible, awful businessman. I am really just the word. Just never ever have me start your business, because I will fail within 30 seconds. But I would love to, you know, work with somebody who's establishing something, who's got money and who's got things going. I just love making film. I love directing film. It's such a craft, and I love writing film. I might be in a position where it would be helpful if I could work with somebody who's started something and maybe rewrite with them and just get involved that way. But you know, it's really about the art life, like David Lynch says. It's just about just every day you wake up and get into creation. I have Instagram reels, and that keeps me busy. I make short little nature documentaries called Elemental. That's also on my Instagram at Tiberio Trip. So just constant creation, you know, every day, just what are we making today? It's kind of, you know, going to the workshop and what are we building, you know?
Yeah. That's cool, man. It's good to hear about your inner workings. And I do a little gardening on the side myself, and I am growing some pumpkins right now. I hope they're ready in time. My mom from Greece sent me some pumpkin seeds, and they're blossoming into beautiful things. So it's kind of cool to hear that you're doing the jack-o'-lantern thing.
Well, save me one. Maybe I'll make an awesome jack-o'-lantern for the festival the day before. I can whip one up real quick.
Really?
You know, I carve like 10 a day, so it's pretty easy for me. But
you know what?
No, yeah.
I'm taking you up. I'm taking you up on that. It may not be one of the ones I'm growing, but I will buy a pumpkin and bring it.
Okay.
And
We'll make a
I
little
would
something.
love to have it. I would love to have it. That's a huge honor, man. I'd love to have
I
it.
will get there the day before. Yeah, and I can definitely make something. Yeah, I carve pumpkins into Thanksgiving. There are turkeys by that point, but I carve pumpkins into Thanksgiving. That's not satisfying. I'll tell you, at that point, Halloween's over. It's like, but we run until Thanksgiving because it's such a big crowd. People come from all over the country to see these jack-o'-lanterns. So
Well,
we do.
I will be at the same exact theater as Austin Comedy Film Festival the day before, because Austin After Dark Film Festival is what's screening on the 7th. So if you come up to the theater, you're going to see this big pumpkin just sitting there in front waiting for you when I get there.
Just give me a knife. Just don't, if I have my Michael Myers mask on, don't give it to me. But if I'm, totally, sober and I look okay when I show up, then just hand me a knife and I'll be ready to go.
All right, my friend. Well, sorry to put you on the spot about that, but I'd love to get a pumpkin.
No,
it'd be dope.
That's great. I love it.
Or you're gonna have to make a reel like showing me like you hooking up pumpkins. I think that would be the coolest. I don't know if you do that on Instagram, but
I do stills. I do I show
Okay.
stills of the stuff I do. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. Well, good talking to you. Good catching up, and it's been a pleasure. Is there anything else you want to add before we go?
I do want to, first of all, I want to thank you, and I want to thank all the judges at Austin, because I think that this has been a hard road to get people to watch the film and to get it to it's so hard. So many filmmakers out there these days, and it's just an amazing thing to be recognized, and I super appreciate it. And all the people who worked with me, my producer, I didn't even mention Chris Paisley, because he really got this whole thing together, and his friend Lauren. But my girlfriend Valerie is like the glue. She keeps me together, and I call her the lifeblood of the whole production. So art project, not production. Bad me. And I also want to say real quick, because this is a comedy festival, and sometimes comedy is, it's people don't give it the acknowledgement it deserves. And I think comedy has just as much potential. To me, art is evolution. It really is. When it's really at the fullest, deepest, sincerest level of a creator's work, art is evolutionary. It helps us evolve as people, as culture. It has all through the ages, since cave paintings, okay? And I think comedy is just as much a part of that. I think of a film like Doctor Strange. I'm sorry, the rain's getting heavy in here. I think of a comedy like Doctor Strangelove, and I think of that as a super evolutionary kind of work, and that kind of inspired me to make a comedy that was on the darker side of things, that deals in death. And I just think that comedy is important, and keep making comedy, because I love all genres, and I think all genres kind of need to be blended these days. So I don't know if I'll do a pure comedy like this again, but I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody's work. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Appreciate the kind words. Look forward to having you at the festival, and we'll see you just in a few weeks. All right?
Got it, man.
My man, take it easy.